You're watching the VetTunes podcast, the show that shines a spotlight on military and veteran artists. Stand by for transmission. Transmission indeed, and we are transmitting to you from the bunker at Harmony Hill Studios in Shelbyville, Tennessee, just outside of Nashville. And today we have a very special guest, Miss Barbara Sim, and she is a Marine veteran and a very talented singer-songwriter. And we're going to chat with her today, and then we're going to be treated with a little live performance. So we look forward to that. Barbara, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. I got to town 2023 after retiring from the military, and I would always see your name. And I followed you on social media, and you were here a lot. And then I made contact with you, and you're like, "No, I'm traveling." And then to find out that you're like a permanent traveler. I mean, you are very nomadic. Yeah. But welcome to Harmony Hill, and let's talk a little bit about your, just tell us about you.
Yeah. Well. Again, thanks for having me. I do travel a lot, and I am so happy we were able to make it happen this time. So I travel full-time in my camper van, and I've been living in my van for about 3 years now, just full-time traveling and playing music. And I traveled a lot before, kind of my whole life, really, and it just made sense for me to travel. And I started pursuing music full-time in 2015 after I had come out of my dark ages. Is what I call them. When I got out of the Marine Corps in 2009 to 2015, my transition was a little bit rough. I decided to pursue music full time, and I started learning guitar at 30, and I started writing my own songs and kind of trying to navigate the whole music scene the best I could. I made some really cool friends and connections, and I teamed up with Operation Encore in 2020. Right in time for COVID. So a lot of my first experiences with them were all online. We did a lot of Zoom sessions and classes and things like that, which I think was kind of perfect for me at that time because I was still learning a lot. And so I just worked on my craft and on my songwriting, and all I ever wanted was to sing because it made me happy. And drunken karaoke was not the healthiest outlet.
Yeah,
so
but fun.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah. Yeah, I had a lot of fun, but I wanted something, a more healthy outlet for my singing, and I wanted to kind of level up a little bit as far as like writing my own songs and having my own voice with it. And so I started learning how to write. I actually hiked the Appalachian Trail in 2016, and I carried a Martin backpacker with me, and I learned how to play while I hiked, and I wrote some of my first songs on the trail.
And how long have you been playing guitar before you took the Martin backpacker down the Appalachian Trail?
October of 2015 is when I really decided, and I played for about 3 months, and then I went to Creative Vets in January of 2016, and I wrote a song with them and got my guitar with them, and kind of just went from there. It was kind of like that little jump start in the beginning, and then I hit the trail that March, so October, November, December, January, February, about 5 or 6 months before I hit the trail. And then I wrote some of my first songs on the trail.
Wow.
Yeah, my first song I ever wrote there was called Miracle Baby, because I was a miracle baby when I was born. I almost died, and my mom almost died. And sometimes I'll play that live, and I just think it's fun, because I'm like, this is the first song I ever wrote on the trail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had you been songwriting long before you went on the trail?
Not songwriting. I was always a writer. I won a lot of writing awards growing up. I won the Lieutenant Governor's Award for writing in South Carolina, and I don't know, I was 11 maybe. And then I wrote poetry a lot. And I actually got my poems published in this little book. My mom encouraged me to submit my poems growing up, so I have 5 or 6 poems that were published in this little book that I still have. But it was never songwriting. And what's really funny, I'm a little embarrassed to share, but I think I was 14, and my mom asked if I wanted a guitar or a telescope for my birthday. And I told her a telescope because I had dreams of being an astronaut.
Wow.
Yeah, I was going to join the Air Force and be an aerospace engineer and all these. I loved space. I loved stargazing. I just loved nature too. So, and I was very, very shy growing up. So the idea of performing in front of anybody terrified me. I only ever sang in front of my family, so I chose the telescope. And then as soon as I got it, I took it apart because I wanted to learn how it worked.
Sure.
So I took it apart and put it back together, and it never worked right again.
I've done that a lot growing up. Yeah. Or so I've been told.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what led you to the military. What led you to the Marine Corps specifically?
Well, we grew up in a small town and poor, so we really couldn't afford college. And I kind of was burnt out. I was a good student for most of my high school career, and I just wasn't ready for college. And then 9/11 happened when I was in 11th grade, and I had never really thought of joining the military. But then my older sister joined, and she joined the Army National Guard, and I actually joined the Army National Guard first. So I joined 6 days after my 16th birthday, and I did split ops. So I did boot camp the summer between my junior senior year. I literally went from cheerleading camp to boot camp. Like 2 weeks after cheer camp, I went to boot camp. And then I did my, it was National Guard, so I did my my drills.
The drill?
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Drills and AT.
Yeah, I did drills every month my senior year. And then I missed my AIT day after graduation. And so I got a general discharge. And
Okay.
because you're supposed to be fully trained within a year or something like that. But I got a general discharge, and then I was going to join the Air Force, like what we talked about earlier,
Right.
and be an aerospace engineer. And I went to the recruiter, and they weren't taking prior service. No. What's funny is at that time, I thought Marines were all infantry. I really didn't know much about the military. I just knew that it was my ticket out of my situation. And so I was walking out of the Air Force office, and there was a Marine smoking. And he said, "You joining the Air Force?" I was like, "No, they won't take me." And he said, "Well, come on and join the Marines." I'm like, "Okay." I literally thought I was about to go be a grunt. I didn't even know anything about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I just want to get out of here. I just want to be in the military. And what's kind of, I don't know if it's sad, but I had some personal experiences that I wanted to be around honorable people. So, honor, courage, commitment, all the values that they hold. And so I wanted to be around good people with that were honorable and, in my mind, protective and safe, not in their hearts. So I thought joining the military would put me around those kind of people. And what I learned was that there's good and bad people everywhere.
That's true.
And just because you're in the military doesn't make you that great. I mean, I'm proud of everybody who has served, but again, there's good and bad people in every environment.
Every walk of life.
Yes. But I'm very glad that I joined. I loved wearing my uniform. As hard as it was being in the military, as I often felt like I didn't belong. I was one of 2 females in my unit, and so I struggled on that level, and I was always told I was too nice to be a Marine, and I wasn't a great runner, which is like a sin in the Marine Corps. But, I'm very glad that I joined. And so I joined the Marines in June of 2005. I shipped off to boot camp. I had to do boot camp twice. I did Army boot camp, and then I did Marine Corps boot camp.
Okay. So what was the difference?
Well, I think Army was more challenging for me in the sense that I was 17, like newly 17, and all I'd ever done was I was a cheerleader.
Yeah.
So I didn't know physical fitness or discipline or anything like that. So it was a little bit of a shock to me. And that way it was more challenging. And then once I got to the Marine Corps, I'd been in that situation physically, so I knew how to push my body. But they were meaner. But I had fun. Like, I had fun in boot camp. I felt like 3 months of free, physical training and free food and a safe place to sleep. And I didn't have to think about anything but what they told me to do. I kind of enjoyed it.
It's a simple life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking to my wife about that, and she was a flight medic in the Air Force Reserve, so she served as well. And we were talking about, easy and hard choices. And I went to the Citadel, which is a military school, and I'm like, it was the easiest hard choice I made, or it was the hardest, easiest choice. In that it's simple in the fact that everything is laid out for you. Your whole schedule for 4 years, essentially. marching to meals 3 times a day, all that kind of stuff. And it's simple in that aspect, but it was also very hard physically, mentally, all that kind of stuff. And, going through being a freshman there for the first year, if you can endure that, then, you were well on your way. But I think that's kind of similar, and the same thing with the Marine Corps is you go and you do exactly what they tell you to do,
Yeah.
So you graduate boot camp,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go to where?
Okinawa, Japan. So I had a friend in boot camp, and we both wanted to be overseas. So we put in our request to be overseas. And she got Hawaii, and I got Okinawa. So we never saw each other again. But we reconnected on Facebook years later, which was kind of fun. I went to Okinawa, and I was at Camp Foster. And another funny story, my recruiter told me that I didn't have to worry about being deployed, which I wasn't really thinking about it. Like, I knew 9/11 had happened. I knew we were at war. But again, it's like in my mind, it just didn't register fully, I don't think. I was in escape mode. I was, looking for a way to like travel. And of course I had the patriotism, and I knew that we were at war and I wanted to serve my country. But I think a lot of that was built over my career in the Marine Corps. It wasn't something that initially got me in there. So when my recruiter was like, oh, you're not going to get deployed, I was checking into my unit, and First Sergeant was like, you ready to go to Iraq? And I was like, do I have a choice? Let's go. Yeah. And so when I was in Iraq, I got my phone call, and I called my recruiter. I was like, guess where I'm at? I thought it was funny. He was laughing.
Yeah.
He was like, well.
So you're in South Carolina. You decide to go in the Marine Corps, and then next thing you know, you finish boot camp, and you are in Camp Foster in Okinawa. And then shortly after, you find yourself in Iraq.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I actually joined in Miami, Florida.
Okay.
After I got out of the Army, I went down to Florida where my mom and grandpa were. And there's some things that happened there that I won't go into, but it pushed me to try again to go back into the military. And so I joined out the Miami MEPS. But then, yes, and then I went to Okinawa and then found myself in Iraq. And oddly enough, Iraq was my favorite time in the military because it was very like mission focused, and there was a lot of bullshit you had to deal with in the fleet that there was a lot of drinking and just bullshit. I'll just leave it at that. I don't know if I'm allowed to curse on your podcast, but I did it.
We can do whatever we want.
All right. Iraq, it was like you woke up and you did your job and you felt like you were accomplishing something and you were part of the mission, and there was no alcohol. You didn't have to deal with any of that. Although I heard people snuck it in, but I didn't do any of that. Although we did get 2 beers for Thanksgiving.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was on Al Assad. So we weren't outside the wire on Al Assad. I worked on the flight line, and I was in great shape because I was the only Lance Corporal, so I was the one running around the flight line. And I'd be taxiing the planes in. And by the way, pilots don't pay attention to you. They don't care. They just park where they want. So I'm like doing this, park right here, and they park down there 2 spots over, and I have to run over and get behind them. So anyway.
Is that a normal landing support specialist role?
Working the flight line, yeah. So we're trained to, it's incoming and outgoing gear and people. So it's the flight line, it's ships, beach landings. I think we even trained on trains, but I never worked on trains.
Okay.
In the fleet.
Just from a large logistics standpoint,
just
and
logistics.
Having a railhead.
Yeah, wherever gear's coming in and going out, we're part of that.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's funny, like beach landings, we have red patches on our uniform, and back in the day, it was a big yellow patch on the back of your uniform because we'd land on the beaches, and they would push us forward, or the grunts would try to get back on. There was like some kind of confusion with like who goes forward and who stays back, and so they put the patches on the landing support so they knew who was supposed to come back on the boat and who was supposed to move forward.
Okay.
And then that just kind of evolved into more of a traditional, not really useful, because we don't do many beach landings. Yeah.
Well,
I
ignorance.
spent 99% of my time on the flight line, loading and unloading aircraft, building a lot of gear pallets.
Okay.
Yeah, I was great with a ratchet strap. And I loved it. And we did HSTs. HSTs were my favorite because the birds come in, like a lot, it was mostly sage 50s, and they'd fly in and we'd hook them, ground them, and then we'd get the gear on them and they'd fly away, and we're just like waving at the chief.
Well, that rotor wash of a 53 is no joke.
Yeah, you get smacked with some rocks a little bit.
Yeah. So we were talking a little bit earlier, and you were telling me about the FET team. How did that come about? And like what, for the folks out there who may not be familiar, what is it and how did that come about?
So FET is Female Engagement Team, previously called Lioness. And I was in Iraq. We were on the flight line. I was one of 2 females in my unit. And because it's a combat role, you have to volunteer as a female to do it. So they were looking for volunteers. And the other female in my unit was a corporal. She just picked up corporal. And so they were looking for lance corporals and below. And I was a lance corporal at the time. So I actually was a little nervous about doing it. And then Jennifer, the other girl, she talked me into doing it, which I'm grateful for. So she gave me a little burst of courage there, and I volunteered, and I'm so thankful that I did, not just because of the people that I met through it, but just the purpose behind it and the experience. Again, it's weird to say that Iraq was my favorite time because it was also one of the most challenging and scariest times, but I did feel like I felt like a Marine. I felt like I was doing my mission out there. So when we were out there, we were attached to the 2-3 Marines in Haqqaniya, and we went out on foot patrols, and we went house to house like cordon searches, and we worked the TCPs. So anytime a female or a child came through, we'd bring them into our lioness den, is what we called it. It's like a bunch of HESCOs, really.
Tactical control point.
Yes. And we would search them for any weapons or contraband or anything.
Bombs, the whole 9 yards. That is awesome. I was in Iraq March 05 to March 06. And I think it was kind of at the early stages of, I think they had recognized the need. It wasn't very formalized, but it was it was a volunteer basis. And we had Marines that volunteered to do that and would go out. And just a critical role, especially when you're dealing with the different, customs and that kind of stuff out there.
It was definitely part of the hearts and minds and respecting the culture as a female so we could get that close to the females. And I talked to them a lot through the interpreter that we had. Our interpreter was like this 15-year-old kid whose family had been killed and was like working with us to help, find the bad guys. Wow. So he would stand outside the HESCO and like speak around the corner while we searched the females, and I'd talk to them and ask them questions and things like that. It was more of like curiosity on my part, like outside of the mission. I was just like, what do you want to happen for us being here? And a lot of it was education. They just wanted education. And I'd ask, how do you feel about us being here and things like that. And most of the women, like middle-aged and under, were very happy that we were there and just wanted education and freedoms and things like that. And then the older women scared the crap out of me. And they were like spitting at us and like they didn't want us there. So it's like, I wonder if it was just like because they were older and they were just kind of more conditioned in that sense. But 90% of them just wanted education. That was like the main thing. Education and safety.
And then the kids go through and...
Yeah, the kids was so hard. I tear up every time I think about it. There was like this toddler, and my partner was searching, and I had to hold the weapon on at the ready, but also hold this toddler. And so I'm trying to hold a toddler in my full gear while I'm holding a weapon, and the mom's just like daggers at me, and I'm like trying not to be like, I'm doing my job, but I'm also trying to be kind to this child who's crying.
Right. Empathetic, sympathetic.
Yeah, it was such a contrast of worlds. And so I'm trying to I couldn't cradle the child that was crying. I had to hold it oddly while I'm holding a weapon. And so that was like really hard. I don't know if it's like female or motherly feelings, or I think anybody in that situation would struggle with that. Maybe not just females. So, but yeah, that was hard. We searched the mom and then I handed the child back. But it was like times like that where it's like I felt like the bad guy.
Yeah.
So we just did our job, and I tried to do it the best way I could.
In their land, and all of a sudden there's new rules and new things, and but that's tough. That was one of the most challenging parts, was just the interaction of the cultures, trying to be respectful but
vigilant.
Yeah. You got out of the military.
Yeah.
And what was that like? Was there Were you counting the days to EAS, or how did that all happen?
So I wanted to stay in at least another 4 years, but I met another Marine in Okinawa, and we ended up getting married. He was deployed there, and I was stationed there. And then he went back to South Carolina, where he was stationed, and I followed him at my PCS. And so I was at MWSS 273 my last year in. We didn't work out, so I got out for him because he wanted to get out. And about 6 months later, we were going through the process of divorce.
And what year is this?
2009.
So what was your journey like to music?
Well, like I said, I'd always loved singing. It was my stress reliever. And when I got out, there was a lot of traumatic events during and after my service that led to my divorce, and my divorce was very traumatic. And so I don't remember 2010. I kind of drank it away. I was in a very, very bad place. Suicidal, isolation, alcohol, all the things. Just dealing in all the wrong ways.
And were you playing at this time, or that hadn't come about just yet?
It wasn't even on my mind. No, I didn't have any plans to professionally pursue music at that time. I think I was in survival mode, doing my best to just get by, trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life now that I was in the military and I wasn't married. And it was the aftermath of all the trauma and the divorce, and just a lot of isolation, not knowing what resources I had at the time. 2009, I think a lot of people were still figuring that part out, how to help.
I think so.
So
yeah, I agree.
There wasn't as many really amazing resources as there is today. So I did go through a few things. I went inpatient. I went through a few retreats, and I was kind of trying to find my way. I knew that how I was living wasn't how I wanted to live. And looking back, it used to be really hard. I used to look back in shame and guilt, but now I look back and I completely love myself at every stage, because I know that I was just trying to survive. And I did.
Yeah.
So it was part of my journey. And I think when I revisit those places from a place of love, I can appreciate those moments and use that to help others who might be in those moments. And that's kind of part of my mission through my music and just through telling my story. Over the years, I tried to go to college, failed out a few times. I was really good at the work, but I wasn't good at showing up, like attendance-wise.
It's also hard to come out of the military where there's structure and you're around people that are, have a like-minded goals and mission accomplishment mindset. Or you find yourself on the tactical control points of Iraq, and now all of a sudden you're back in a classroom environment, and that can play on your mind a little bit too.
Yes, and from everything I've learned since, especially on a neuroscience level, your body is wired a certain way to survive in combat mode, in military mode, and having to rewire that and understand what needs rewiring, what is conditioning versus your true essence. There's a journey into finding that and discovering that and rewiring that. When you think about, like, I would be sitting in class and my body would just start shaking and I'd just start crying, and I didn't know why. But now I understand that that was stuck energy in my body trying to find its way out. So it's like my nervous system was so wound up from military, from trauma, from all the things, that it wasn't aligned.
Yeah.
So that was the work that I took many years to get through, realigning, rebalancing.
And then did music become an outlet for some of that energy?
It was my lifeline. Yeah. It was the one place that I felt calm, connected, aligned, joyful. Like, I didn't know how to be happy or joyful.
Yeah.
And I could find that in music. And so I kind of clung to that. And people started telling me I sounded good. So I was like, well, cool. I might as well do something with this.
There you go.
There you go. It started as leaning into it because I didn't know where else to turn. And just, it was my joy. So I leaned to that. And then in 2017, I reconnected with my faith. And that was a huge step in my healing journey. Just my identity in Christ, wiping away anything that had happened that I misidentified with. That was a big part of it. And then the neuroscience. I did a neurofeedback retreat with Semper Fi Fund.
Oh, okay.
In 2018 or 19. I want to say 18. And that was a huge part because up to that point, I believed that PTSD was just permanent and that this is my new normal. But learning about the science behind it and how it isn't a life sentence.
Yeah.
You can heal on a physical and spiritual level. And so I started that journey of discovery and healing and combining that with my faith and the science and music. And then I loved nature. When I hiked the Appalachian Trail in 2016, I really connected with that more. And I just kind of gathered all that together as my pillars of faith, nature, and music to heal.
Wow.
And that kind of led to the next step. And a lot of my songs are about nature and traveling and God.
Well, you're in the perfect nomadic lifestyle for the musician aspect of it.
Yeah.
When I first got to town and I saw that you were here and playing, and then all of a sudden you're all over the place. That's amazing. Tell us what led you to van life?
Well, I grew up traveling. We moved around a lot when I was a kid. The military, always moving.
So we're in the military?
No. Well, my dad was Army, but he wasn't around, so it had nothing to do with our moving. We just moved a lot.
Okay.
My mom moved a lot growing up, too. I think it was just kind of ingrained in her. Yeah, and then I joined the military, and I moved with the military. And then I got out of the military, and I found myself moving like every year or so to a new place, and I was like putting down payments on apartments and, you know, all these things. And I was like, why am I putting money towards rent when I could just be in an RV? So at first I was going to do like Class C. And then I started in 2012 really dreaming about it and just wanting to travel and it not feeling right time. And then after I hiked the Appalachian Trail, I was like, yes, I want to be in nature. I want to be traveling. I want to be moving. And it was more about connection, like not just connection with nature and faith, but with people. Up to that point, I was isolating a lot. And I understood the importance of talking to people. I know it sounds simple, but so I think it was, and I moved to Colorado in 2017 after I hiked the AT. And I lived there for about 4 years just playing and really trying to hone my craft and things like that, getting used to being on stage and like playing and singing.
Yeah.
And I made some really cool friends through that network. And then COVID happened and all that went to the wayside because we weren't playing live.
What did you do musically during that period of time?
A lot of stuff with Operation Encore.
Okay.
And just writing.
So you have mentioned Operation Encore, you mentioned Creative Vets and Semper Fi Fund, and that seems to be a common theme amongst us as veterans. And I've worked with the Semper Fi Fund on many, many events, and I know that they have such great programs. And it's now being here in Nashville, I'm learning about Operation Encore and Guitars for Vets and the Creative Vets and Freedom Sings and Operation Song. I mean, it's all goodness. And the thing that I really like about those programs with the arts and music is, music is good medicine.
Yes.
It just it gives you the ability to express yourself. It gives you the ability to get some of the nervous energy out and really just tell your story and kind of open up to the world if you want to. But also I've noticed just something as little as playing a guitar, an acoustic guitar, for 5 minutes, I just feel better. And it's crazy. And then, as I've progressed or, moved around through my career, I've run into so many military and veteran artists that, they just have some significant stories, and then that's why we wanted to have this show to where we can sit down with the folks in our community, all of our, military and veteran artists, and just kind of share our journeys with people, because there are 1 million or, 10 million or whatever, however many million artists in the world, but there's very few artists that raise their right hand. And that's what makes you special. There's 2 boxes you got to check to be on the VetTunes podcast. Is 1, got to be in the military or a veteran, and 2, you got to be a singer-songwriter or somebody involved in the music industry,
Love it.
so as not to limit it, but, I think sometimes we may not associate military folks with creativity, So to be able to, to talk to so many people that use music in different ways is really fun for us.
Absolutely. And creativity is just innate in all of us. Our God is a creator, and we are in his image, and we are creators. And you don't have to be, amazing to get something out of it. Like, I talk to so many veterans that are like, oh, I can't sing, or, oh, I'm not musical. And I'm like, it's about more than that. On neuroscience level, it's about moving that energy. And if you think about on the woo-woo side of it, the vibrations, like there's scientific research based on like how the musical vibrations can change your own vibrations in your body. So it's like just playing that music, listening to that music, getting out that energy through the music is just so healing.
I think you just helped me figure something out within myself.
Oh, yay.
But yeah, no, I mean, I find that you can get yourself worked up with whether that be life or, whatever the circumstance, but then playing makes me feel better. And it also kind of forces me in a way to interact with people.
Yes.
Because now that I am retired and relatively isolated out in the country doing music, it's easy to stay isolated. But the beauty with having a recording studio is we get to play music for people all over the world. I got a good friend of mine, he's a drummer. We met when we were at Camp Lejeune. He was a drummer in the Marine band, and he comes in and we track music for people all over the world. So it's just, yeah. So, and this was the plan is, all the times I was thinking about retirement, I wasn't thinking about a GS job or, some kind of other, I was just like, how can I be around music? So, this property in Shelbyville came available and we came up here and we built it. And now that we built it, we can do whatever we want and we get to have artists like you.
It's amazing what you've built here. It's very nice.
Thank you.
It's got good vibes.
Thank you. That's the goal. And we want it to feel comfortable. We've had several songwriting retreats out here with veterans, and to be able to come out here and just have that camaraderie of being around each other and, passing guitars around and writing songs and stuff. It's a positive place to be versus some of the darker stuff that I think, many people have been through, which, involves the bars and the party scene and trying to replace the adrenaline rush sometimes,
or drown it.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the thing that is beautiful about music is, and your journey is you have a vast array of experiences to draw from as a songwriter.
Absolutely. A lot of my songs are about traveling.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what is your songwriting process? How does that come about?
Well, often when I'm driving, a little ditty will come up in my head, or a little, either a melody or a line. And so I'll pull out my phone with like a little voice memo and sing into my phone while I'm driving. And then when I get to camp, I'll kind of work through it. I often find myself singing the song with a melody in my head. And then because guitar is not as, second nature to me, I have to work hard to get what I want out of the guitar. But I can usually kind of manage to get what I need and just play around with it. And then I'll send my little memos to my mom and my sisters because they're my first line of feedback.
Beautiful. That's your sounding board?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
They're very honest in a loving way. Yes.
When you feel like you have a song that is complete and you want to go record it or capture that, what has been your experience with that?
It's one of my bigger challenges is getting my songs recorded. And so Operation Encore has helped a lot. And I'll reach out to them and I'll be like, I really like this song I just wrote. What do you think about bringing it to the studio? And they'll do like a little vote and be like, yes, no, can't do this one. Whatever they're currently working on, because they have a lot of artists that they work with. You have to wait your turn. And I just got some equipment for the van to try to do some at-home recording. I want to do like a van sessions album where it's just stripped down.
What kind of equipment you're talking about?
So I got a bunch of stuff for recording, like a mic and an interface, and I use Pro Tools on my computer. I haven't gotten very far on that front, but I'm working on it. It's a work in progress.
We look forward to hearing that. I mean, I would love to see you further develop that, especially if you have the ability, with the technology these days to capture those recordings. I think, to have the different backdrops of all the places that you go, in the van life.
Yeah, I just got some Rode mics to try and get some more in nature shots. I've been trying to work on beefing up my social media. Another thing about, hiding is I kind of avoided social media for a while just because music wasn't about like being seen.
Right.
And I didn't want to deal with judgments and all that other stuff that we all face. So and I didn't want to be so on the screens, in the screens. I wanted to be present. That's why I love traveling so much, is like meeting people in person and playing these intimate venues and like getting to have conversations and real connection. And I felt like social media didn't provide that for me, but my mindset's really been adjusting around it in the space that it's a free tool to reach more people with my message and my music. And so releasing any undercurrents that might block me from using it in that way, I just release them when they come up and focus on the benefits of it and the mission of it. So I want to be able to speak to the people that maybe feel how I feel or need to know that healing's possible, or just want to know what I'm up to, because I have so many people asking like, where are you these days and what are you up to these days? And it's so funny because I think of van life and I'm just like, it's just my life. Like, I'm kind of boring most days, but I guess my boring day is still interesting to some people because it's van life.
Because you're out doing something.
They ask the funniest questions like, where do you go to the bathroom? How do you cook? I'm like, I go to the bathroom on the toilet and I cook on my propane stove.
So how do you plan your journeys? So you're in Nashville now.
Yeah.
And then where do you go from here?
So I usually try to plan around visiting friends and family. I have friends and family all over the U.S., which is another thing. I used to isolate in my apartment, and people think my van life is lonely, but I'm more social and connected now than I ever was before. And so when I'm traveling, I visit family and friends. I'll try to plan 2 to 3 months at a time. I'll pick my route between cities where I know people and then just locations I've always wanted to see. And then I'll look in those cities for venues that kind of match my vibe. And I'd send hundreds of emails, hundreds and hundreds of emails, phone calls, social media. Maybe out of 100 people I reach out to, I'll get like 5 replies. But I just keep at it. And I walk by faith a lot, not really knowing how it's going to work out. But that's part of the fun.
Yeah.
I feel like
it's the adventure.
Yeah. I think it was last summer. I was going through Oklahoma. I had $4 in my checking account, and I wanted to get to the West Coast. And I didn't know how it was going to happen, but I just trusted that it was going to happen. And while I was in Oklahoma, I got 2 gigs, and those gigs got me to New Mexico, where I got a pop-up gig. I walked into this brewery. It was a Harvest Host, which is free camping. It's like a whole membership thing you can do. And I was sitting at the bar, and I was like, I play music. Do y'all do music here? And I was talking to some locals and regulars and the bartender, and the bartender's like, well, our owner's right over there, and he's a Navy veteran.
Nice.
And so he came over, and we started talking, and he's like, well, just set up and play. So those are like my favorite shows.
Carry a PA and the whole.
Yeah, I've got a Bose L1 Pro. It's real compact, so it's easy to fit in the van, easy for me to carry on my own. I'm my own roadie, so... Yeah. I just set up and I play, and they still follow me and comment on social media and stuff. So that's the fun part for me, is those connections and those pop-up gigs.
What a great network you're building. So many people try to do it from one spot behind the screens, trying to be everywhere, but you're actually going everywhere.
And there's benefits to both sides of that. Building a solid fan base in one location, venues will pull you in because you can bring in a big crowd locally. And so a challenge for me on the road is trying to get venues to bring me in when I don't have a local following. And oftentimes venues want local artists to play, which I understand. So I do face that a lot, but I ain't mad about it because I get it. I just do my best, and I trust that what's going to work out works out.
So you did the karaoke. That was your gateway to the stage. So outside of a karaoke stage, like what got you to the point where you were behind the microphone with your guitar and it's just you.
I had reached that point where I was like, drunken karaoke nights aren't where I want to be at.
Right.
I was trying to figure out. It was so funny, the healing journey. Like, my dark ages literally were foggy. Like, I have parts of those years I don't remember. And it was like coming out of a tunnel or out of a fog. And so waking up, which comes from that realigning. I don't know if anybody will relate to this, but when I was in that space where I wasn't connected to myself, I often felt like I was out here watching myself live my life. And I felt very scattered and misaligned. And then when I started healing, I came back into my body. And it's like I felt safe in my body and I felt reconnected with myself and God. And so that's when I started feeling more clarity and more clear vision of who I was and what I wanted. And so choosing to pursue the music because it made me feel happy and connected. That's when I chose to start learning guitar. And I did a little bit like looking for people to play with, but it was always like weird situations where like they either had too many projects, so there was like little time to work with me, or, you know, it's often males that play and their wives or girlfriends didn't want them playing with a female, that kind of thing I came across a lot. So that's when I was like, well, screw it, just learn yourself. And so I spent hours, like hours and hours and hours every single day practicing guitar. And I learned 3 songs. That was my goal. 3 songs. And then I went to my first open mic. And I was so nervous. I took a shot and I went and threw up in the bathroom. And then I got up on stage and I sang. The first song I learned was Jolene by Dolly Parton.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't remember the other 2 songs, but I remember that one. And I remember being on stage and just connecting with people and like playing and getting it out. And like, I don't know, just the feeling of it. I just wanted to keep doing it. There's not really any deep meaning. It was just, I enjoyed it and I kept going and it was my lifeline. So I clung to it and this kind of evolved from there.
Sometimes the hardest jump is jumping onto that stage, you know, getting the nerve to go out there and perform in front of people. But
Yes.
The beauty in that is when you find the right club, the right vibe, and you have folks that are supportive, and it's a great feeling, you know, and then you feel like, yeah, okay, I could do this again. And then there's going to be times when you just have a terrible show or you're at a venue that could care less that you're there, or my favorite is when you go in there and you play a show and they've got like the basketball game shining playing right above your head.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I don't know if music is really what you want to do.
I just fake it, and when they cheer for the basketball game, I act like they're cheering for me.
Yeah, because they really are. You know, they just may not know it yet. So, what is on the agenda? Are you writing songs and kind of collecting material and thinking about a project?
Yeah, well, the van sessions, I'm learning how to work all the tech so that it's not trash when I try to do it.
There you go.
So I'm working on that. I'm always writing songs. I have like hundreds of songs that I want to record, and I just play them live, and I make jokes. I'm like, this one's only available live, and then I'll play it, and then sometimes I'll make a joke, kind of joking, where I'm like, if you want to sponsor the song for recording, and then I have a QR code on my banner where they can donate.
Great.
So I try to get, nobody's come up on the offer yet, but you never know.
But we're getting the word out.
Exactly.
Right. So do you have a page, like a link tree or something like that, where everybody can go and kind of find you?
Yes.
How do people find you?
I do have a link tree. There's a QR code on the back of my van. It says follow me.
Oh.
I thought it was a funny little play on the words. My mama don't like it, but it says follow me, and then it has my QR code, and then it has all my social, like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. It's Barbara Sim Music. And then it's got streaming on Spotify. It's Barbara Sim. And then YouTube interviews on there too, and electronic tip jars and my gas fund.
Yeah. And those are important, you know, for independent artists, because we don't have CDs and things like that to sell anymore, and it's a little bit more difficult in this environment, so you have to have creative ways. But, you know, for somebody to be able to go sponsor a song or a recording session, or just give you a tip and say, hey, you're doing great. Yeah. Keep it up. You know, it's such a a positive vibe. So we just need to get that word out. Do you have your own website?
So I just partnered with Victor Valor. They're going to help me get a website up.
That's great.
So I'm excited about that. And then, yes, I love the comments on my tips. Like, here's $5, you just made my bad day better kind of thing.
Beautiful.
Or just like, I don't know, I love reading the comments that people leave on Venmo.
Yeah. What kind of upcoming shows do you have?
So I just came off of a tour in the Northeast, like a little mini tour, and played a bunch of fun gigs. I did the Fleet Week in New York City, which was a lot of fun. That was with Operation Encore. And then I did the Rural Salute Operation Honor Festival, which was a lot of fun. They're out in Pennsylvania. The festival's in Pennsylvania, but they're based out in North Carolina. I just got back to Nashville. I just did a show at the American Legion, but I'm kind of winging it this summer.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So are you here in Nashville for the summer?
No, I'm here till the 7th. Like, I got a week left here, and then I'm heading to Colorado to visit some friends, maybe play some music, going back up to Glacier. Glacier's my favorite place in the whole world.
Yeah?
I love that place. It's not even like it's more beautiful than anywhere else, although it is beautiful. But there's something like when I drive into that park, my soul just lights up.
Wow.
So I just love that place. And what's
where
funny,
is this?
Glacier National Park's in Montana.
Okay.
Yeah, it was on my bucket list since I was like a teenager. McDonald Lake, or Lake McDonald. So being able to like put my toes in that lake was a really cool bucket list check off.
Nice.
Yeah. And then when I leave there, I'm going out to Oregon. I've made a lot of friends out there this last summer. A lot of cool veteran groups there. I'm going to be doing a women's conference, a women veteran conference, the end of September with all the women veterans I made friends with out there.
Nice.
And then I'm going down to Texas in October. Encore and Tunnels to Towers are doing a fundraiser at Billy Bob's that I'll be a part of. Yeah.
Have you been to Billy Bob's?
I have not. I'm excited.
It's neat. Yeah, it's a whole different experience. How many miles do you have on your van?
Almost 90,000.
Okay, and how old is it?
I got it in 2021, so October 2021 with 35 miles on it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you are out there.
I drive a lot.
There you go.
I drive a lot, but then I also like kind of, when I get to an area, I kind of stay in that area. So I've talked to my sister, like, I think she's put more miles on her car just commuting to work, driving back and forth every day.
Yeah, I never even thought about that.
Yeah.
When you go to a new town or you set your sights on a new town, how do you find places to park, to stay?
I have a lot of apps. So
Okay.
I use All Stays. Depending on how long I'm going to be in the area, like my overnights while I'm driving, I like Cracker Barrels. They always feel safe and quiet, and they're just off the highway and they're everywhere just about. Another overnight's Walmart, but I don't like those as much because they can be loud. And there's been a few times where someone's tried to get into the van. So if I don't feel safe, I just leave. The beauty of the van, I don't have to get out. I can just pull off. Out west, there's a lot of like Forest Service land and BLM that's kind of free and in beautiful places. Campgrounds, state parks. I get 50% off as a disabled veteran. If you haven't got your park pass, it's an all-access park pass you can get on rec.gov. I think you have to go actually to the park. Just go to a national park, show them your VA disability paperwork, and they'll give you a free access pass. So you get into the park for free, and then you get 50% off camping.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love it. I use it a lot, rec.gov. And then regular campgrounds. KOA is my bougie nights when I want to have a shower and laundry and a electric, so I do that.
I've seen some of those fancy places that have like the big Prevost buses and the multi-million-dollar motor coaches.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. That's a pretty nice
That's
way to
fancy.
go. When I was living down in Louisiana, there was a place I want to say it was in Ponchatoula, but it was this it's like an RV park, but you drive in there and it's got all the amenities and it's got like a stage and they do shows and it was pretty elaborate,
Yeah, I haven't seen that. You have to show me where that's at. I do Harvest Host a lot, which is fun. It's like a membership and venues sign up for it, and then I pay a yearly membership, and they're all over the U.S. It's like breweries and wineries and farms. I love staying on farms, especially like markets, and I can get fresh produce and fresh like meat from the local area.
Yeah.
So I do my grocery shopping.
That's the best.
It's amazing. Yes. There's been a lot of really cool places and people that I've met through Harvest Host, so put that shameless plug in Harvest Host. I thought it'd be fun to maybe put together like a Harvest Host tour and like go play at all the farms.
you should have them sponsor it.
That would be fun.
That'd be
I have
great.
to give them an email. Send them an email.
There you go. Send them this, and then you'll have your performance at the end, and it'll be a EPK all in one.
Nice.
All right. So again, with the socials, it's at
Barbara Sim Music.
Barbara Sim Music.
Just give me a follow, and if you see me out and about, come say hi.
Yeah.
I love meeting people and hearing their stories.
It's very important to, especially in our community, like, follow, share, subscribe, hit the buttons and do the things and
All the
leave the
things.
comments and just share it, because this is, we're building our tribe with the podcast and with our trying to connect veteran and military artists. And I would like to hear from our veteran community is, what are your thoughts? And do you have any comments? Do you have any recommendations? No ego here. Just let us know. But we are going to stop and reset for a live performance. Anything else that you wanted to cover?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay.
I'll think of 10 things later, but for now I'm good.
All right, so as we near the end of our podcast, the one thing that we have been doing is the rapid fire.
All right.
So I'm going to throw out some questions, and I want you to just give me the first thing that comes to your mind.
Gotcha.
All right? You ready? Favorite MRE?
Lasagna.
Lasagna.
Yeah. It's been a minute since I had MRE. I didn't think anything with cheese in it.
Yeah, the cheddar cheese pack that's worth its weight in gold.
Yeah.
Dream venue.
Red Rocks.
Red Rocks.
Yeah. I dream of doing a wilderness venue tour, just being outdoors in the wilderness, and Red Rocks has all the parts that I want. It's outdoors, it's in a beautiful location, it's in a beautiful state, and I saw Chris Stapleton play there in 2017, and I was like, I want to play on that stage.
Nice.
It's beautiful.
Well, you gotta will things into action, and this is all part of manifesting it. So
Yes.
It is now out there that you're coming for Red Rocks.
Love it.
All right. So Barbara Sim is coming for you, Red Rocks. I think that has been one of the. We usually hear the Ryman and we hear Red Rocks.
I mean, I wouldn't turn down the Ryman or Grand Ole Opry. Those would be fun.
So if you're just catching us here, our first episode was with Mr. Sal Gonzalez, a Marine veteran, and he has performed on the Opry stage twice and he just crushed it. Standing ovations for every song. Just an incredible singer-songwriter, so go check out episode 1. All right, so we're going to take a break, and we're going to reset, and then we're going to have you play us a song. What song are you going to sing for us?
Probably Roam With Me. I just wrote it, and it's fun.
Yeah.
It feels like me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. So we'll be right back with Barbara Sim.
Let that road open up before you. Turn the radio to Emmylou. Take a left around the corner. Set up camp down by the river. Burn the fire till the sun starts rising. Till that pink hits the horizon. Might stay here a while. We'll pack it up and drive for miles. Don't you wanna roam with me? Get outside where it's wild and free. Don't you wanna roam with me? So get in, see everything. Don't you wanna roam with me? There's room in the passenger seat. Oh, come on now, roam with me. I don't need much of anything. I'm just a wildflower in the wind. Take it slow and take it easy. It don't take much to please me. Take the wheel, I'll kick my feet up. There's no map, it's up to us. This might last a while. Who knows, let's drive for miles. Don't you wanna roam with me? Get outside where it's wild and free. Don't you wanna roam with me? So get in, see everything. Don't in the passenger seat. Oh, come on now, roam with me. Don't you wanna roam with me? Get outside where it's wild and free. Don't you wanna roam with me? So get in, see everything. Don't you wanna roam with me? There's room in the passenger seat. Oh, come on now, roam with me.